India.
A vast South Asian country with diverse terrain,
From Himalayan peaks
to the Indian Ocean coastline. An eclectic melting pot, brimming rich with culture, religion passed down from generation to generation.
Let's rewind.
550 AD,
India has just fallen out of the Gupta Empire.
a period noted for its achievements in the arts, architecture, sciences, philosophy, and religion.
All of which, one thing retained acceptance for hundreds of years among the Indian people: the religion of Buddhism. Buddha.
Interpreted in ways that weren't favorable to all individuals, causing a split in the Buddhists of India.
The school of Theravada and the school of Mahayana.
The teachings of the elders,
They saw Buddhism as a way of life,
insisting that an understanding of oneself was the way to gain nirvana,
an escape from the wheel of life,
transforming themselves through moral conduct.
and meditation.
Mahayana was developed in northwest India.
They insisted that Buddha was divine and not just a man,
Mahayana schools believe that nirvana was heaven.
and not just an escape.
They believe that through devotion to Buddha,
One could achieve salvation.
neither of these remain popular.
By the 600s, Theravada had been declined.
Mahayana was absorbed by Hinduism, then later Islam.
Though disintegrated in India, carried by monks all through China, Korea, Southeast Asia, and Japan,
These schools found success abroad.
and practice still continues.
Islam
Because of political disunity,
spread like wildfire in the 8th century in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent.
and had a major impact on Indian civilization.
It divided into India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan.
The Gupta Empire had collapsed.
India divided into 70 states that were constantly in war.
Ghazna,
Founded at the end of the 10th century by a group of Turkish slaves,
and seceded by Muhammad in 997,
extended rule throughout the upper Indus Valley.
all the way south to the Indian Ocean.
Hindu kingdoms to the southeast were attacked.
Muhammad's cavalry were experienced and able to strike with great speed.
None of the neighboring kingdoms could match his military tactics. After Muhammad's death in 1030, his successors continued with their advances. And by the 1200s, they'd created a new Muslim state, now known as the Sultanate of Delhi.
Imposition of Islamic rule created tension in Indian society, but for the past several hundred years, the lives of Indians remained the same.
Intolerant of other faiths, Muslim rulers attempted to separate the Hindu population, but slowly came to accept them as they realized there were simply too many believers.
Here's an idea of the social caste between 500 and 1500.
Indian peasants paid a share of their harvest annually to a landlord.
Part of the payment went to the local ruler, who was naturally the wealthiest.
India was also the center of trade between Southwest Asia and East Asia.
Though internal trade declined due to war,
International trade thrived in the region.
Indian artists and writers built on achievements while making creative innovations,
Both secular.
and religious.
In Southeast Asia, states began to form.
They adapted models of China and India.
Southeast Asia had two major parts.
The mainland region, extending southward from the Chinese border to the tip of the Malay Peninsula.
And the chain of islands, now known as Indonesia and the Philippines.
This area was called the Golden Region, or Golden Islands, because of its mixture of races, cultures, and religions.
Let's go back a little.
Mainland Southeast Asia consisted of densely forested north-south mountain ranges with river valleys running south.
People living in valleys had limited contact with people living elsewhere.
Which explains why Southeast Asia was never unified under a single government.
The Vietnamese were the first to develop their own state and culture in Southeast Asia after the Chinese conquered in 111 BC. They overthrew them in the 10th century.
Chinese influence still remained.
Dai Viet adopted state Confucianism.
The state became a dynamic force in the mainland.
Population grew and expanded southward.
The 9th century.
The kingdom of Angkor rose in Cambodia under the rule of Jayavarman.
Crowned as God King of his people.
Angkor was the most powerful state in mainland Southeast Asia.
In 1432, the Thai destroyed Angkor.
They fled to the southeast and set a new capital.
The Thai appeared in the 500s in China as frontier people and began moving southwards in the 11th century.
After destroying Angkor, they set up a new capital in Ayutthaya for the next 400 years.
Where they were threatened by the Burmese state, the Kingdom of Pagan. Like the Thai, they had converted to Buddhism and adopted Indian politics.
Pagan became a major force in the next few centuries, but the attacks by the Mongols caused its decline in the 1200s.
India.
옛날에 그래 (1991년) 기억나?